All right, give me a shout out if you can hear me. Smile if you can hear me. We got Aaron saying he made it early today. You've got me in a little routine. Carl Shine, me too. Ready to go. Now, as far as I know, I have a live mic. I have a Tridactyl skull on the screen. We can start playing with that right away. I thought we'd just get into some hunting right off the bat because it's pretty much given to me that all clear. Thanks, Aaron. It's pretty much given to me that all the bodies, all the skulls have these things. Got a little, let's see. I think we got another little surprise tonight. Let's see if it's still working. Yeah, we've got a storm cam. Let me show you my storm cam coming on. Maybe I could just share a screen here. Welcome, everybody. It's Let's Talk Tridactyls. We've got some Hongshang artifacts to look at today. You can tell me whether you think they are real or fake. It says we're not live on X. Okay, that means that button didn't get pushed. Create broadcast. There it goes. Now we're live on X. Thank you out there. Welcome, Jared Rosenthal. Thanks for coming. Got a good team going. We got a bunch of junior xenoanthropologists here. Got a new camera for us today to play with. We're going to call it Hurricane Cam. We're going to see what you all think about Hurricane Cam. Let's see here. Entire screen. There we go. We got Hurricane Cam flashing in between daylight and darkness. You can see the canoe there. Just in case that rain doesn't stop. That's a river. It's heading right towards me where I live. I don't know if this was the best place. Okay, let's go back to our Tridactyl skull. So we got Josephina today, and we've got her on an X-ray mode, which you can really see standing right, coming right off at you is those bright otic capsules, those ear capsules that seem to be something in between amphibian and mammal, made for underwater, likely probably useful in communication, probably part of maybe some echolocation, who knows. With these little beings, you know, when you go looking through all the petroglyphs around the world in the water areas, in the Caribbean, in Jamaica and Canada, you'll see the heart-shaped faces near the water. What's wild is to see them in the skull. So let's go ahead and let's get into that skull a little bit. Sometimes I don't know which. It's interesting how the different screens work together here. All right, we're gonna just take off the top of her head there. All right, and that'll allow us to sneak in a bit. Now, if you're gonna end up doing this, you're probably gonna think you're seeing a lot of pareidolia. Phi ratios seem apparent in the face. Creates quite the conversation, says Carl Shine. So, yeah. Let's see here. So, again, what I was saying is if you're thinking you're seeing pareidolia, that when you look at their little faces, keep in mind, these beings are 1 centimeter or less. Some of their faces are just a millimeter. But yet, despite that, welcome, Mr. Grawl. We're talking about just despite their faces being so small, you can still see them in the scans. And so what I think we might be seeing with these otic ear capsules is this might be some of the last juicy meat in the skull. And they might be trying to eat into the nerve center. You can see clearly in Alberto. What else can we see here? Let's turn her around. I thought this was interesting. Maybe we can switch it up a little bit. Josephina here seems to have, maybe from this side we can see it better. Yeah, we're gonna have to do some editing here. I'm not very good at the editing, so let's say sometimes I can, I don't know what you call this. Sometimes putting it in negative works better too. Yeah, not really my thing. I'm sure there's some radiologists out there who can like whip around this program, no problem. But what I did notice, it appears as though she might have a larva right on her cheek. It's coming out much clearer before. Let's see if I can somehow get that for you guys. So guys, we're going to be giving away a Josephina head, coincidentally, today. Does she look just quite like this? I don't know. I think there's some minor details. We can look at that back skull again, which we looked at another, I almost said victim, another specimen. These aren't my victims, right? Which is that evidence of a possible dual brain creature because of the bony separation is pretty significant. And you can see its reflection there. And again, sometimes what you can do too is you can just switch to a different setting. So I can switch to, I don't know, like maybe chest. Too much. Okay, and that can bring us inside, but now you see things are looking a little bit more kind of the same color. So, well, I think that's good for now. Let's take a little break from that. Maybe we'll come back to Josephina. And what else do we got to talk about this week? Well, you know, I thank you all for coming, and I thank everyone for being a part of this because, you know, it's probably... good to, is it a confession? It's good to let you know that, you know, there's a lot of other researchers out there and they don't seem to be too interested in my finds, which is weird because so far we've found a Eurostyle, which was evidence of tail absorption in amphibians that you would know best in frogs. We've found evidence of a parietal pineal third eye gland in the pneumatic chamber that we call the kappa, which we predicted we'd find it there too. So that's kind of interesting, right? Why was I able to predict that? Because the archaeological record and the cosmology, humanity's beliefs, show a third eye. So these things, plus now the metamorphosis, how tall was she? Did she have legs or a parasite body? Yeah, she had legs. In fact, since you asked, let's go back to our Josephina screen. Since you asked. And this is her here. We just have her caps. Looks like a Frankenstein monster. And there's the rest of her. We can kind of clean her up a little bit here for better view. So yeah, there's old Josephina with her 3 eggs. Right? Her metal implant, her gastralia stomach ribs that you'll find in a crocodile. I think there's like one between every 2 ribs. So let's see. I was counting them earlier. I think I came up with 5. 1, 2, 3, maybe 6. It's hard to tell because there's like half ribs or maybe just her proper ribs, right? And of course the metal implant. And you know, those larvae aren't just in the skull, of course. They are in there in the torso. What you can do is you can reduce, we can go in this direction, bringing down the head and looking right down her torso there, right past the metal implant. And you never know, you might see some larvae hanging out. Or we have to change the setting to see if maybe that way we could find the larva. So What is that shiny thing down there? That might be her. What is that? It's just her leg bones coming up really strong, huh? Really reflective. Okay, so yeah, she has a full body. And the Euro style, what's that down there? So you can see the larval forms because of the pareidolia. They look like little heads, little heart-shaped heads. Their black eyes, as you can usually see too right away. So sometimes even from a distance, you can see these things. What else we got for comments here? Aaron Nunn said you did. Wow. Have you a YouTube channel? Yes, I do have a YouTube channel at Tridactyls and TikTok. How does the larva go from head to eggs? So these eggs are ovoviviparous, which if you guys want, you could all go to yourselves right now. You could go to the-alien-project.com and you could look up Artemis. She's a good one. Because Artemis was one of the first ones I found with a fetus hatching. So if we go to Artemis, you can look her up. What else is going on though? I'm trying to think if there's any other new discoveries. Working on that double brain, just trying to find the best imagery of these beings. Hey, are my messages working? Says Sammy Wright. Let's see. Mark says, yes, I see now. Awesome. And what's this? Thanks for reminding me of the stream. So yeah, we can go to Artemis. Let's put her on the screen for everybody to see. And this is on their site. And you can look. And she's got a lot of implants. It makes me wonder, was she around before the others? And I had suggested early on that those implants were likely to extract the larva. Now, again, I had an advantage over people because, one, I recognized the beings from petroglyphs back in 2023, and I followed the archaeological clues, which told me about the metamorphosis. Guys, the metamorphosis is in the Paracas Peruvian artifacts. It's in the Hongshang artifacts. Well, look at these scans right here. They have images of Artemis with probably larva in her head, and they just don't know it, again, because no one thought to look there, but that's what the archaeological record told me. And so what were we looking for? Basically, we're looking for her eggs. So whatever the best thing of that is, let's go with this one. Okay, once again, we're looking at Artemis at the-alien-project.com. The original researchers into the Tridactyls. More like frog people. So that was fast. I didn't really get a chance to look at anything here. So let's see. Watch those eggs. And you can actually see, I think, right at the top of that egg here. Oh, boy. Also doesn't pause very well. I remember that. Going back to Artemis, and again, you can do this yourself. Egg right there. There is a shape right here, which I think is the original embryo that we spotted. And then I suggest there's might be another one there also, or it's the same one just in different image, and I'm talking about right here. So anyway, with these scans, it's hard to tell because everything's colored the same way, right? So we were talking about Artemis, gave us the clues of this here. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and take, like I said, we were going to take a break from this, and we're going to look at some Hongshang artifacts. So I've shown a lot of these, and I like to I'll show them again, So I have two Hongshang artifacts. So the pig dragons, again, the pig dragons were paramount to me understanding that the ancients were well aware of the tridactyl metamorphosis. And they depicted this in these things called pig dragons because of, I guess, their snouts. And if you have a good one, it's made out of jade because there's a greenstone complex. I'm sure if you're fans of archaeology and ancient aliens, you've noticed the greenstone complex. It's almost like a Pacific Rim complex. It's like we could almost definitively come up with a brand new cultural area and just say, hey, the Pacific Rim, based on these greenstones of the ancestors. Another clue as to them being amphibians with green skin. We're working on a model, and I want to make sure I capture the two-tone nature I'm seeing in the larva, like a frog, with the darker green and a lighter body below. All right, yeah, we got a lot of frogs happening. It's funny, frogs are in pop culture right now, as is, and maybe they're following us around. So let's take a look at these artifacts. Are these fakes? Are these authentic? Now, my suggestion is if it's fake, well then, how did the artist know to make those cordiform supraorbital arches, the tridactylism, right? Would you say there's 3 fingers there? So there's this one, and then this one's almost the same thing. Again, to me, I don't usually show these because I question their legitimacy. But looking at the, can't really, it's so fleshy. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Like, I've seen this before, and I'm like, wow, look at that. It's weird when you put it in front of the black, I guess. Look at that. Is that neat? That's right, cordiform, heart-shaped. Look at that. I'm sorry. I think that is really cool because, again, you know, I thought these might have been fake, but whoever the artist was, they certainly nailed the trope, didn't they? Yep, of course, yep, the greenstone of the tiki, of course. They're 3-fingered with their supraorbital heart-shaped faces. Yeah, man. So, what else do we have to talk about today? So that was our Hongsheng artifacts. We wanted to talk about metamorphosis. So people do ask, why are they in the head? Well, again, ovoviviparity. So this is another amphibian trait. You know, the earliest amphibian traits that we got turned on to were the 3 fingers. The 3 fingers and cutaneous breathing, no lungs. Huge clues that these are amphibians. The Euro-style, for me, I really felt like kind of tied it in. The Euro-style is what's left from the lower spine. It's a fusion and a absorption of the tail. And you can see on some of the scans I posted that, we should probably play that video, that you can see the tail, and you can see what looks to be a faux tail, because in the metamorphosis, their 2 3-fingered feet are still connected, at least in these images. Can human males be hosts? Yeah, I don't know. At what stage? They're so small, it seems like. It's like, what stage could they be invasive to others? Yeah, it's very interesting. Like, what environments do they need? I believe they would have preferred a saline lake to be born into. All right, so real quick, we're going to look up, I posted earlier, the video of larval form. Actually, let's just show these pictures too. And again, I'm sorry if you've seen them before. I know it's good. This show's gonna be like one of those shows, like every week's a repeat. Almost, because we go over some of the same stuff and we get the same people, and you know it's gonna be like this probably for years. So check out these guys though. So until I find the video, here's some great pictures, I think. So what are you looking at? You are looking at a tridactyl larva, 2-tone. I'm calling it a chiromorph because it has hands. So using the Greek word chiro, and just using chiro, I think, causes a little ontological shock. So I like that. You can see his little hand with just proto-digits. You can see what looks to be, you might think is a tail, and he's grasping a smaller, what I call a lancet version. Let's see here. again, sorry for the imagery, but you know, that creature is a centimeter long. The little thing he's holding has like a millimeter wide head. So, and you should be able to barely see a blurry little three-fingered limb. And in this picture here, you can see the faux tail, which is that fish-like tail, which I believe is depicted in archaeology. Yeah, and it's technically, Carl, what I found out, because, you know, here I am. We all have to become now, as a junior xenoanthropologist, we now have to become amphibian experts. And it turns out they don't technically lose the tail. They absorb it. Yeah, it doesn't like, you know, it doesn't like fall off. So you can see it right there. You can see the little tail, and it's connecting up to where it's supposed to. Yeah, he's holding him. This might even be a fight for their life right here. And this is the last death throes of the little lancet going through, maybe even fighting back. You can see in this shot his two little black eyes. And again, that tail, those 2 feet, you can see in the archaeological record. These are in the Indus Valley in the Harappan script. These are the Indus Valley fishmen, if you will. Okay, let's see. Oh, that's what I want to show you guys too. Let's go over this. So I've made a little cheat sheet on what can be expected. Some of this is, I don't want to call it speculation. It's a logical guess. It's likely. It's suspected. Right. So Maria doesn't have a coccyx, does she? Maria has none. So that suggests that Maria may have had a tail. And that also that fact that Maria has no navel implies that she may have been born in an egg. So amphibian-grade basal tetrapods with invertebrate parallels, deep time origins up to 500 million years ago. Diplocephalic, meaning it looks like 2 legit brains. You can see that by the fact, just in the skull. Again, that superficial look. We can always start superficially and work our way deeper, but that superficial look of, it doesn't have one. You know, this model of Josephina, I'll show you here. My screen's getting a little confused here. There's like too much stuff. This of Josephina here, she only has one occipital bump here, one brain cap. And in actuality, she has 2 in real life. Parietal pineal complex, that may be in charge with the parthenogenesis, the self-breeding. The rostrum is like a beak, like a turtle beak. Proto-canine fangs. I say proto because, again, I think this is an early creature, so those teeth are going to be something unique on the record. Peristaltic tubular heart. So if they have a tubular heart, that sort of implies invertebrate parallels, implies hydrostatic strategy. That extending neck implies hydrostatic strategy. Likely regeneration on Victoria's right leg. And again, I believe I see Victoria in the archaeological record, specifically in the Chinese script. I believe Victoria shows up as characters in the Chinese script, sitting with her head off, with her leg growing back, and it looks like that right leg was removed or chopped, damaged, and it looks like it's experienced regeneration and is healthier and more robust than the left leg. That's my guess on that one. Likely hermaphroditism, just like a lot of amphibians. Parthenogenesis. Telescoping generations. Did I, in fact, find eggs within the fetuses, within the larvae? Are they born pregnant? Ovoviviparity, that's sort of a given. That's them being born alive within the host, the mother. Asynchronous development, so the eggs are not all hatched or they're not laid at the same time. Polyembryony, so those eggs have multiple forms in them. Metamorphic life cycle, I've noted a few different forms now, right? There's the lancets, and then there's the chiroforms, I say, with the hands, but then there's the ones in between that. I suggest that center duct is an axial gonoduct with follicular loculi. That means like an invertebrate, like a worm, that center actual duct is part of the reproduction. About to wrap this up. Adelphophagy is sibling predation, which we've caught that now. 3 different images of predation. and matrophagy, dermatophagy. So it's natural for some amphibians to eat the flesh of their mother. This might be a toxic result of being locked in those bodies. That diatomaceous earth, I realize, maybe its grand importance was not protecting the bodies from pests from the outside, but keeping the pests within. In fact, some may have already escaped and someone may have patched up those bodies, possibly. If you look at some of the bodies, there are already some heart-shaped, looks like holes or something that maybe have been patched up on the skulls in some of the bodies. Yeah. Good stuff, huh? Good stuff. All right. Oh, I would be remiss not to tell you about my horrible experience. So, I don't know if you guys were following my post this week, but I tend to walk around barefoot, which now I'm terrified to do, after I stepped on this. What looks to be like a hairy piece of salmon sushi is actually this, the pus caterpillar. So I just happen, of all the rotten luck, to step on one of the most poisonous caterpillars, venomous caterpillars in the world. It immediately set my foot on fire, and the pain proceeded to go up my leg into my hip bone. From my hip bone, the pain then moved on over to my groin. So I was howling in pain, and this lasted, I mean, good and heavy, at least 6 hours into the night. You know, if it wasn't for the drugs, I would not have been able to survive that. At least not the pain is what I'm suggesting. Awful, awful. Don't do that. Is that adventure? I felt adventurous. And between the venom and the narcotics that was given to me to knock me out, yeah, I had quite the experience there. So yeah, don't do that. I had some other show and tell stuff for you guys today. You know, I used to work for the museum, so I ended up getting my own little collection of replica dinosaur claws to show you guys. I don't remember all the names to them, so you'll have to forgive me. We could probably look them up. But this might be a Utah raptor. Wow. Yeah, let's see. So yeah, he has them in too. There you go. All right, look at that guy. That's pretty cool, huh? So of course, you know, we can tie it into the Tridactyls. They do have what looks like either would you call them claws or would you just call them nails? So I have a bunch of these raptor claws. This one's got a nice weight to it. Actually, is this a raptor claw? This seems different. See, I'm gonna have to look these up again. I have them written down somewhere. I want to say like T-Rex claw even, possibly. Look at that. Feel free, if you're a paleontologist, to jump in. You can tell me otherwise. This one too has got some girth to it here. Look at the size of this guy. Aren't these fun? Yeah, I've been wanting to show these. Got a couple of, I think, perhaps T-Rex teeth here. These will make some great prop knives for your next paleontology movie, huh? Yeah, we got some crazy things. Of all the rotten luck, huh? What is the chances that I step on barefoot one of the most poisonous caterpillars in the world? Here's a cool arrowhead that a guy down at Wildlife Outpost in Miami made for me. He makes these out of the bottoms of like Coke bottles and booze bottles and whatnot. And so he makes it. So remember that. Napping. And so he takes, he'll hold it with a piece of leather or something, and then you might use like a piece of wood for finer bits and a stone. T-Rex claw. Which one of these is a T-Rex claw? This one looks more raptor, doesn't it? So it's probably not that one. So I know we got like Utah raptor and maybe mega raptor or something. Is that a thing? A mega raptor? And these are replicas, guys. So I got these specifically for doing outreaches. And things of that nature. I'm really tempted to get myself some cool skulls. I see Cody over at East 10 Outpost has some cool skulls, don't he? So yeah, I like to do a little show and tell here because, you know, what else can I do? I'm not there at your house, huh? What else? Make sure we want to cover everything. Any questions out there? Questions, comments, concerns, insults. I got a big old beard that should be coming off in 2 months. I'm gonna regenerate, just like the Tridactyls. I'm gonna tear off my head and have a new version of me come out. You know, that's what I suggest. The whole of human cosmology, mythology, and beliefs is all just a primate's take watching these amphibians do their things. All right, I don't know. I think we may have to jump into the giveaway. I'm trying to think what else. How about this one? Here's a cool close-up. Now, it's kind of hard to see these pictures, I understand, but they're 1 millimeter, so sorry, it's not. I always say this isn't Bigfoot class. This isn't. So, 2 big black eyes, its snout, and you might even see what looks like perhaps the parietal pineal gland up there, possibly. 2 big black eyes, supraorbital arches, snout. So yeah, it's a close-up. I'm always trying to find the best imagery, right? And sometimes, let's see if I can find that video real quick before we do the head giveaway. Let's see. Here's some. Let's see. Is there any recent new tridactyl bodies found? I don't think there's been any new bodies found. I think we got to check into Maria some more to make sure that if Maria may have had a tail and may have been born with an egg, then we should probably make sure that Maria doesn't have any larvae. And I don't know if my scans are quite good enough. What the heck? I don't know if you guys can hear this or not, but let's just look at a little bit more of these. Wow, it seems to be skipping. No, too. Partially, I think, because of the imagery, but partly because of their skin, that zigzag appears. It's another way of being able to spot them. That like crocodilian, like zigzag appears above their back. It's wild, huh? So I just wanted to make sure we got all those shots in. All right, guys. I think it's time for us to do a Josephina head giveaway. There's been lots of winners. You know, it's just a fun thing I do to keep everybody interested, to have everyone be part of the experience. This is, hey man, if you like Star Trek, Star Wars, whatever, Lord of the Rings, fandom, make this your next fandom, because this Tridactyls are everything. It sounds like it's like a cult. You don't have to worship them. Oh man. Did you see the feet? Hold on. Now I gotta show that. Look at this baby foot. Look at the baby Tridactyl foot I caught. Isn't that neat looking? Note the paddle-like bone. That's their unicarpal that is reflective there. Yeah, that's cool. So yeah, we've gotten pictures of the hands. We've got pictures of the 2 feet forming that faux fishtail. Hasn't separated yet. Now let's talk about the head giveaway. Oh, we got to add some numbers today, don't we? To make sure we get some winners. So let's pull up that file. Thanks for watching. This is at Tridactyls, the constant companion theory. We were never alone. Tridactyls are amphibian beings. There is evidence of the ancients, our ancient ancestors, having knowledge of these beings in the archaeological record, and that includes the Hongsheng artifacts and Paracas fabrics and Paracas ceramics right there in South America. You can see it. So here's our current numbers we have. And I know I'd like to get some new people's numbers in here. So I'm going to take this from the top with, let's see, Aaron. I don't think, Aaron, you've won a Tridactyl head yet, have you? Aaron, none. Aaron, if you want, you could choose one of these green highlighted numbers here to add to your chances tonight of winning. Let's see. This repair set. I just think it's a natural survival system here. Worst comes to worst, they eat the mother. In the Sicilian worms, it is natural to eat the mother. In some invertebrates, it is natural to consume the mother entirely. So, I think if she doesn't get them out of her, then you have a problem. Okay, 49. Aaron, none. Awesome. Mark's just jumping ahead, 96. Okay, buddy. Let's go back up top here. So what happens with my mouse sometimes? I got so many things open, it doesn't know where to go. Jared Rosenthal, have you won yet? Can't recall. I thought you did, right? Or is that Lloyd? Jared won, yes. Okay. Bum, 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 ba-da. How about Sammy Wright? Sammy, you can choose a number. Thanks for coming today, Sammy. I'm like wrestling my mouse. It's insane. What the hell? Let's see. Let me go down. I'm going down the rows here. So after Sammy, if Sammy doesn't have a number, who else we got in there? William Lopez Vega, if you're still there. Cornucopia X. Gmail user. You already have 85 Gmail user. Anybody else out there gonna give me a number? Sammy. Cornucopia, another number from Gmail besides 85. Cat orange whistling. I don't know what that means. Matt Trayvon. I wonder if that's where our tailbone came from. Yeah, these guys are definitely, I think, our ancestors. So you can probably start extrapolating a lot. Cornucopia X is going for 30. Okay. We're almost full up. Okay. All right. We've got anybody else out there? Still a couple numbers left, it looks like. There's like 3 numbers left. No Sammy Wright. All right, going once. Gmail user 28 coming back in. All right, Gmail user. Would be great if we could just get 2 more people, then we'd finally have all the numbers picked out. But I think we're gonna roll, unless they get here by the time I roll, right? That's the rules. Okay, pulling up my roll 20, so we can do a launch here, and we can roll and see what our D100 number is for the evening. Here we go. $25. Oh, Cody from East 10. Look at that. Cody won. How nice. All right. We're going to have to congratulate him on the old TikTok. Cody, it's Cody from East 10 Productions. I'm glad he won. How very nice. We will definitely play again. That means I have to get to making some of these guys. Kind of a pain in the ass to make, believe it or not, the little heads. All right. Thank you all for coming. I think we did it. We did just about a full show. I like to do about a 44-minute show, which is really about the time an hour show is, right, on the old days of television. And I try to do the 7 p.m. Eastern time slot. That's the old time slot of Leonard Nimoy's In Search Of. So keep watching us at Tridactyls. This is Real Science. I'm one of the only former archaeologists, former paleontologists, techs, former museum educators. I've been on the board of the Archaeological Society, yada, 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 yada. You don't find a lot of people with my credentials, and spend a lot of time in the New Age book field. So there's that. So live long and prosper. This is real. This is happening. Return to your own myths and legends. Return to your own museums.